What would you want to do today then?
Trying to rack my brain, thinking about.
I mean, I don't have to beat Shawn. We could have a schmoz or whatever you want. I think it allows me a chance to leave with my head up and leave in a nice way.
Whatever you want.
Okay.
Okay, so let me see now.
Okay, we bumped the referee.
Right.
Now the referee's supposed to stay down, and then Shawn goes for the sharpshooter.
I see.
I reverse it, put it on him.
Okay.
Then the other guys eventually come down, the whole thing ends up in a big schmoz. That's the way it's supposed to end.
To me, that sounds good.
Shawn, you weren't in on that?
Fucking idea. I didn't know place. God's my fucking witness. I swear to God, I knew nothing.
Yeah, well, swear to God all you want. Someday God is gonna strike you down. Yeah.
I know you're upset, but...
No, I am upset.
It's November 9th, 1997. NOFX, All Outta Angst. They're all out of it. In the box office, Starship Troopers reigns supreme. And in the WWF, Bret, bite the pillow. He's going in dry. I'm Tyler Fudge.
And I'm Travis Fudge.
And this is episode number 200. WWF Survivor Series 1997. Ooh. No Jerry Lynn. But we'll just have to make do. You can follow us on Twitter at the Fuderation. You can follow Travis on Twitter
At Fudging Up.
Facebook and Instagram's the Fuderation Podcast. T-shirts at whatamaneuver.net. And you become a member of the Fudge family by joining our Patreon or donating to PayPal, which is the Fuderation Podcast at gmail.com. Just like other members of the family from the musically inclined side of the family, Wooly Fudge. Our brother from another mother, Scotty Rod Fudge. He wants to be called father, but not for $1. Trox Fudge. The intergalactic brother, Fat Superman Fudge. Our brother with the biggest cock, Roach's Savage Fudge. And his future is so bright, he's only 7% other metals. Sterling Silver Fudge. And not to forget, too, the All Outta Angst cover by Mitch.
Did you get Corey and Trevor in there?
Oh, I call them, oh no, and our doe-eyed brothers from down under, Corey and Trevor Fudge. Why did I skip over that? It's even written there. I didn't even see it.
Boys.
I was so focused on getting to the other medals that I just had to get there. But the music at the beginning, that's from our musically inclined side of the family guy, is Mitch, doing an All Outta Angst cover from NOFX. A kind of a dumbed down, no drums, no nothing, kind of just ultra Scottish DIY. Stripped down. Mitch, you're stripped down now. Travis, this is the end of Hitman Week.
Yes, and it is the end of the world as we know it for Bret Hart himself.
Pretty much, yeah. If you had listened to our Wrestling with Shadows episode that we did, you'd know that he watched his career go down the drain, just like zoom, 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 zoom in the fax machine.
Zoom, zoom.
But Travis, what do you got to say to people on this episode of 200ness?
Jesus Christ, you know what? It's an ambitious project to try and cover the 1997 Survivor Series, and what better time to do it than on episode 200?
Yeah, you know, what a better cop-out, right? It's
I wouldn't say doing Survivor Series 1997 is not a cop-out if you want to do it justice.
No, I just being hard on myself, just because of the fact that, like, you know, it's like, how do you do an episode 200? It's like, why don't we just do an episode that makes us not have to do anything for episode 200. It speaks for itself. It just Survivor Series 97. And the Montreal Screwjob.
Well, you know, if it fell around the end of the year, a good 200th episode would be a clip show.
Oh, yeah.
That's the ultimate cop-out.
That is
but
the
not
ultimate
really
cop-out.
because you have to do all that editing.
It is. It's not a cop-out at all. It's so much work. Like, if anything, it's a cop-out for you.
Oh, yeah. I have to work all year around trying to say stupid shit. So.
Got to do something, right? But I mean, we might as well. This episode is probably going to be long enough But you know, it is what it is. You know, it's probably going to be long enough, so you might as well.
Well, it's the Hitman show for the Hitman week, and that's all it is. It's the Hitman
really
show.
It is the Hitman show. We have been swooning over the Hitman all week. We've been just all up in them guts of stew. You know, just tickling that belly, making them go, making them laugh. It's our new favorite thing to do is laugh like stew.
I had the tiger and the water buffalo on the herd house, and the water buffalo was below a tree, and then the tiger, he was up in the tree, and then he pounced right on the water buffalo. Ain't that right, Ross?
Nobody ever wants me to say is the water buffalo. She was actually here to pick up Ross. It was his prom date. Ain't that right, Ross? Bret fucked her too.
Still not going to forget when Bret's with the turkey.
Wrestling with shadows.
I'm not going to forget that for a long time. Full circle.
Full circle, baby. Full circle. I'm so glad we got it. This is the greatest thing. The absolute greatest thing.
Yeah, well, his career's going to get fucked like that turkey got fucked by fucking Bret and Julie.
Yeah, pretty much. And Blade just ate it. But we might as well get into the news. I got one piece of news before we dive in, I guess, to the Screwjob and everything surrounding it, the timelines, the redone observers, the books, the articles. There's a lot to go through. If you're listening live, you've got a task at hand here because it's a long episode. We ain't going nowhere anytime soon. That's for goddamn well sure, unless it's for a smoke, and then we'll have music for you to listen to. So yeah, boom.
It'll be a brief break for your patient ears.
Yes, but the one piece of news that I have is that on November 5th, Philip Lafon was arrested.
What?
After a domestic dispute in Calgary. It's said to actually be a really strange situation, as basically someone had come to his house looking for a fight over a woman. Both, unknown to the other, were packing heat. Lafon, though, he pulled out his first and had the guy on the ground with the gun in his mouth, apparently crying for mercy. And at that point, the woman, who did not know what was going on at all, came over and stabbed the other party. Lafon then dropped his gun to stop the woman from slashing the guy's throat and wound up calling the police, and they arrived with SWAT helmets and dogs. Lafon was then arrested for assault with intent to bodily harm, and the girl was arrested for firing a firearm within city limits, even though she stabbed him.
Well, who knows what she did beforehand?
I mean, yeah. Who knows?
So Vince gets wind of this, and he's like, "God damn, pal!
Oh, let's
we got one Canadian hero out. You're our next one, pal.
Let's give these Canadians an edge. Let's give them Philip Lafon."
You thought that the Nation of Domination were fucking dangerous, dude? This guy's fucking ready to blow a dude's fucking skull out like Kurt Cobain.
That's his plan. That's his plan.
Doug Furness better be worried, man.
Better not fuck up no spots. That's goddamn well sure. Philip Lafon take you out with those strong legs.
Take up kneecaps.
Yeah, goddamn right. Goddamn right. But I mean, that's really the only news I have, other than all this, everything that's going on with this
what
episode.
What else happens on this show, other than that? I mean, there can't be another big news subject to talk about.
There isn't.
I know.
It's not possible.
Like, nothing happens. Like,
no.
Shawn and Bret went off smoothly.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, well, I'm sure we'll get into a timeline here in a bit, but I mean, it all starts essentially when Bret gave his notice. And it was sometime in October that he gave his notice that he was leaving, because he's leaving in 30 days. This was his last night or whatever.
It was September 22nd where Bret was told that he could no longer be afforded.
Yeah.
And that's where it pretty much started.
Yeah.
At that point. I mean, Bret. He's in the
But
middle.
but he was also. I mean, like from when he got the contract signed, it gave his notice for 30 days. I don't think that was a 20. That was when they told him, right?
Well, yeah, that was
To
when
start
he told,
looking.
Yes.
Yeah.
He suggested to see if WCW would still have the offer that they had.
Yeah.
And then, it would take 30 days up until November 1st, I believe. Something like that. They had a deadline until November 1st, actually, for Bret to accept the WCW offer. But he had given us 30 days notice before that because obviously he was going to tell the WWF and anybody else that was going to ask him that he was looking for other options.
Yeah.
He wasn't directly saying that he was going to go to WCW. And I mean, over the next month, things go from, you're wrestling with Shawn. Shawn directly tells him to his face, you may be okay with putting me over, but I will never do the same thing for you.
Yeah, that goes on and on and on.
That is pretty much the reason why Bret will not do business with Shawn on the show. It's not because of Canada. Like, Canada is a reason, but in direct response, had Shawn never said that line, I bet you he would have been easily swayed to lose to Shawn in Canada.
I'm sure it would make it a lot easier. You know what I mean? Like, it would get.
Well, honestly, Bret also had another thing. I don't know how far we should go into it right now.
No, we don't need to go too far into it because we might as well get there. But like, what do you just give us a tidbit?
Well, it's not like Bret was going to win against Shawn at Survivor Series and go to WCW the next night.
No,
that is a weird revisionist history thing because he was not supposed to start up with WCW until December 8th.
Yeah.
And he was willing to work with the WWF until like December 6th at the Final Four show. December 7th. That would have been the Final Four show where he was going
Final Four.
That's what DX was going to be.
Oh, really?
Yes.
They're going to do another 4-way.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Yeah, and that's where Shawn would win, where Bret would not directly lose.
Yeah.
And then he'd give a speech the next night, thanking the fans, kind of like putting a nice cap on his WWF history. 14 years.
Yeah. Did they mention like who was supposed to be planned to be in the match? I would imagine HBK,
in a way,
Bret Hart.
Yes. There was, because there's two different timelines. I don't know if you have it in your observer notes, but the first timeline was Taker would interfere in the Screwjob match. He would pretty much cost Bret to lose the title, or it would be a DQ, leading to Bret and Taker wrestling at the December 7th show. That was the first plan.
Yeah.
And then Taker would win the title because Shawn fucked him over. And then it would go into Royal Rumble, Taker and Shawn.
Yeah.
So Bret is now out of the picture.
Yeah.
And there's another timeline as well, but that is to convince Bret to stay last minute, and that's when he finally decides to go to WCW. But we'll get there.
We'll get there. So, when this match was announced, obviously, Bret, this whole build up to it is full of everything Bret hates. He does not like the way that they have to talk to each other. He doesn't like making it so personal. I mean, obviously, he's a Canadian hero, quote unquote. But just days before the match, he would write a column for the Calgary Sun. And I have some quotes for it that I just want to bring up. It goes really down the middle from being kayfabe and not. You know what I mean? Like, there's parts about it that really is, and there's parts about it that's really not. He says, Shawn Michaels, you are a disgrace to professional wrestling. It amazes me that there was a time I actually thought you'd be the guy that would come up behind me and carry the ball when it comes my time to retire. How humiliating for your poor father to have to explain your lewd gestures to your friends. You don't even respect anybody, do you? What does Jose Lothario think of how you've made pornography out of what he's taught you? Shawn Michaels, you are nothing more than a whore for this business. So you and your boyfriend, Hunter, think I'm told? Hunter said he's bigger than me in more ways than one, and then you pointed at Hunter's crotch and said he could put an eye out with that thing. Thanks for admitting you know what Hunter has in his pants. So how come I have 4 kids and all you 2 have is each other? I'm not the one shooting blanks. By the way, you both look very comfortable eating bananas together on Raw. And after that little scuffle we had, you went running to Vince complaining that the work conditions in the WWF are unsafe. The only thing unsafe about the working conditions in the WWF is you, Shawn. You've gotten into the ring so pilled up lately you can't even talk straight on TV. Just firing from the hip, baby. Pew, 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 pew.
You want to know something funny? I have something very directly related to that.
Okay.
The unsafe working conditions fight. One of the top WWF officials stated to Bret days after Survivor Series that McMahon promised Michaels, who was younger and some would argue better, and was threatening to quit the company after a backstage fight with Hart, that he came out on the short end of, that Vince vowed that he would get rid of Hart to pacify Michaels. Food for thought.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Who knows what top official told Bret that post Survivor Series? That could have been Jack Lanza, who was just trying to stir the pot.
Yeah.
That could have been Pat.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Could have been Tony.
Who knows?
Tony Guerrero.
Yeah, it wasn't Jerry Briscoe, I'll tell you that.
Why is that?
What?
Why is that?
Because Jerry was in on it.
Oh.
Jerry was in on the screw job. He taught Shawn maneuvers in case if Bret shot him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he's also the one that fucking scurries Shawn right out of the arena, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or out of
the
ringside.
Yeah. And then I don't know where he goes while Bret's doing his thing in the ring, but he shows up in the locker room after Bret's been there. So, so God only knows. Probably had to go get some courage and pill for him.
A little pill courage, yeah.
Gotta get a little pill.
So he could cry in the corner while Vince fucking knocked out his fucking boss.
Travis, I have a timeline.
Okay, give me your timeline.
For basically starting in September. Okay. So September 8th, Vince and Bret, they had their first meeting where McMahon supposedly approached Bret about his contract. About 3 months earlier, McMahon had actually told Bret that the company was in bad financial straits and that they might have to defer some money until later in the contract. Bret, being a professional, he was okay with that. He was okay, whatever, you know what I mean? September 22nd at MSG, this is where he says he's going to intentionally breach his contract because he couldn't afford the deal. October 21st, okay.
Bret tuned his mind around the whole deferred payments.
Yeah.
So that's why he was going to breach his contract. Was because if Bret didn't want to restructure the deal, that he was going to breach the contract, which would make Bret a free agent at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. October 21st, McMahon approached Hart with the idea of losing the title to Michaels in Montreal, but promised that he would win it back on December 7th. How this would work, I don't know, because he's going to be gone. You know what I mean?
No, he was going to work. He had written permission that he could work.
Well, yeah, no, but he's saying that Hart would. This is the idea of him losing it to Michaels in Montreal, but winning it back on December 7th. Now,
yeah, that's a suggestion so he could get back his heat, but that's not what Bret would have done at all. Bret was suggesting and then ended up being told by Vince later on that he would win at Survivor Series or there'd be a DQ schmoz.
I'm just saying, on October 21st, this is what McMahon went to Hart and said. On October 24th, McMahon, before the show at Nassau Coliseum, told Hart that the money situation of the company has changed. And he would have no problems paying him everything promised in his contract. Hart then told McMahon that WCW really hadn't made him a serious offer, and they didn't really want to leave anyways, but he was still uncomfortable doing the job for Michaels with that situation. October 31st, just one day before Hart had to either give notice or stay for another year, Bischoff made a concrete offer. November 1st, obviously, it's 120-something dates for $2.6 million.
$2.5 million for 125 dates, and that does not include his merchandise and revenue commission, so it would equal
and travels
up to
paid
about,
or something, right?
Yeah, so it would equal up to about $3 million a year.
So, not bad. That is if his merchandise got sold under a Bret Hart UPC and not Hulk Hogan UPCs like the rumored stuff in the past.
But now his 1996 deal was 7.5 over 3 years with 120-day maximum.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he didn't get offered that. I mean, like, never rarely do you get the same offer once you turn it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, November 1st, Hart had until midnight to make up his mind. He called McMahon and told him about the WCW offer and said that he wasn't asking for any more money to stay, but he wanted to know what his future in the WWF was going to be over the next 2 years. Obviously, that wasn't very good.
I have that lineup. This is the lineup I'm talking about. So
yeah.
he made booking decisions within 2 hours at his barbershop, and this is what he told Bret that his future would be. And this was the hook. If he gave him a good outlook onto the future, then Bret probably would have stayed with the company.
Yeah.
But this is what he was given with 2 hours notice. So, December 7th, he would have been in the Final Four with Shawn, presumably taking Steve.
Yeah.
I believe
Maybe.
just replace Vader with Shawn. That's what it would have been.
Yeah.
Shawn wins. In January, Shawn beats Bret in a ladder match at the Royal Rumble. And then the next night on Raw, Bret would challenge Shawn one more time. And that if he does not beat Shawn for the title, that he would retire from wrestling altogether. So Bret would then beat Shawn on the Raw after the Royal Rumble and then go on to put Steve over at Mania. So he realized that
that fucking rubber match.
Yeah. But as cool as that would have been, Bret Hart would have played third wheel to Austin and Michaels. Who knows how the Rock thing would have happened. Probably would have been playing third fiddle to fucking Taker with the whole Kane storyline. So
Yeah.
you don't know. Bret was going to be phased down the card, and obviously Vince
would
did
have
not
been.
want him.
Yeah.
Triple H and Shawn Michaels, both on the booking committee at this point, obviously hate fucking Bret Hart and Owen. So what would they have done? Bret would have just been cycled out. The Attitude Era would have been ushered in. He's been talking about how they're doing deceitful business practices,
Yeah.
which is a big point in the wiretapped conversation that's not on Wrestling with Shadows, is that Vince asks him, you said something on that Canadian program about me
OTR.
doing OTR, yeah. And it's because he just didn't like the smut the DX was doing and stuff like that, you know? And the racist angle. Like, not only is he anti-American, he's homophobe according to Shawn Michaels, he's also racist now.
Yeah, according to Fruit, you know what I mean? Like,
Like, Shawn called him the Grand Wizard on a Raw. He was not fucking happy about that.
No,
and this is all leading. This is probably 24th of October, so this is in between all of this stupid crap that's going on.
Yeah. So on November 2nd, I'm sure this stems from the conversations that Hart and McMahon were having at this point in time. The pressure, being off and Hart leaving, the decisions made. He suggests that Michaels wins the title in Montreal. And in what would go down as perhaps the ultimate irony, said they could do a screw job ending to steal the title from him. And that the next night on Raw, McMahon suggested the two get in a mock argument where Hart would punch him, blaming him for the screw job. And McMahon even suggested to hardway him to make it look legit. It's
mind-boggling.
The motherfucking irony in all of this. It was a go down blow by blow, just compact within like 15, 20 minutes. Not over 2 days.
Yeah.
And not fake.
Yeah.
November 4th, McMahon called Hart and said that he had changed his mind. He suggested now that Michael should lose clean in Montreal, that he'd steal the title with a controversial finish in Springfield, and Hart would get to do his farewell speech in Portland. November 8th. This is the last day on my timeline because obviously this is the 9th. The WWF ran a house show in Detroit in Cobo Arena for what would turn out to be Bret Hart's final match in the United States as a wrestler for the World Wrestling Federation. Hart went to one member of the front office he knew he could trust, Earl Hebner. Hebner said he understood the situation, told Hart, "I swear on my kids' lives that I'd quit my job before double-crossing you." Dun, dun, dun.
But this is why Bret trusted that he would not get screwed. Because Earl, he considered a friend of his.
Yep.
And there were points where that night in Montreal, Pat told him, Earl's reffing your match.
Yeah.
So Bret's like,
got it.
Sweet. You can do the sharpshooter on me. I know Earl's got my back.
Yeah.
And what happened after that is that people like Davey Boy Smith and Vader, who are very privy to the Japanese scene, they're like, don't put yourself in a compromising position out there.
Yeah.
Because you can't trust Vince. You can't.
No.
And
I
Bret's
mean,
like, I got
Bulldog
Earl.
knows all too well that you can't trust a word Vince says.
Just a month before, Bulldog got completely fucked over an hour before the show was about to go on air.
Yeah.
Shawn, I don't do jobs, Michaels.
Yeah. And this is, you add on top his sick sister who's dying of cancer at this point in time. So.
And there's also, Tyler, how many people do you think knew about Montreal the day of?
I'm sure Helmsley, HBK, obviously Gerald Briscoe, Vince, Pat Patterson probably.
And Jim Cornette, do you think JR knew about it?
Well, Jim Cornette goes by the adage that
he doesn't know.
But
he
just
suggested. He was in the meeting.
Yeah.
But there was a meeting with Pat Patterson, Jim Ross, Jerry Briscoe, Vince, and one more person. I can't remember. Sergeant Slaughter, probably.
Oh, okay.
And the night before Survivor Series, if you want to think that no one knew about it, then this is directly from the 1998 Observer, that Jim Ross on his hotline said that this could be Hart's final wrestling match with the World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean, that was the rumor, though. That was what
that was the rumor on the internet at the time. But
but now that rumor is caused by.
But this was the night before Survivor Series, allegedly after the meeting took place with Jim Ross on it.
Yeah.
Now, there's other things as well.
Well, that's the thing, though. The one thing we will never know unless somebody else says it was that maybe in that meeting they had mentioned that HBK is going to go over with the sharpshooter. Right? Like, you don't know.
That's not the story that was told to...
I mean, in that meeting.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But that's not the story that was told to people like Mike Chioda, Owen, and Bulldog, who are all supposed to be in on the finish for real.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but at the same time, too, Jim Ross has to call it. You know what I mean? So they got to give him something to call.
Yeah, right?
That's
true.
Now, he could have known by all means. Was he talent relations at this point in time?
Yes, he was.
Then he probably did know. You know what I mean?
I got one more piece of information, that there was a production sheet where it listed Michael's music to be played at the end of the match. It was printed a few days before the match.
Yeah.
So, obviously, whoever was working the music had to know that Shawn was going to win.
Yes.
Because they queued that music up fast.
Yep.
That wasn't no delayed decision.
Oh, no, it's not. Obviously, the Q guy had to know. And one thing you notice, too, watching this Survivor Series is that on the dark side of the ring, Montreal Screwjob, and Scott Hall says, how did he get that camera right on Vince's face from the spit? Obviously, it's work. It's like, well, that's the Wrestling with Shadows camera. The WWE camera has the back of Vince's head.
Yeah.
It's not, he doesn't get any of that. Right, that iconic footage is not WWE's footage. They've just been able to use it, I assume, because it's their show.
I'm sure Paul J is very okay with his footage.
Well, I mean, he used all their footage, so why can't they use his, right? That'd be a pretty fucking dickhead thing to do.
This is true, Tyler. Now, we know that the day of Montreal, that Bret and Vince had this wiretap conversation.
Yes.
It was very lengthy. Pretty much Vince saying, like...
What do you want to do? You've got me by the balls.
You got me by the balls. He says that I'm open to whatever. Yeah. Whatever you want to do. He first suggested that DX comes out, ruins the match. Maybe you could punch Hunter and China, because it got a big pop when you punched China there the other time.
And he's a woman beater.
Bret's like, well, what can we get? Neidhart and Owen on this, or Neidhart and Bulldog? And Vince is like, well, I think the DX would just be fine enough, but we could do whatever. I'm open to whatever.
Yeah.
And he keeps on trying to reiterate this. And he's like, I really just want to keep my head held high. This week has been frustrating, and I just don't think it's necessary. I just don't want to end on bad terms.
Yeah.
And Vince is like, neither do I. So that's interesting. And apparently Vince was very disarming on the conversation. Obviously, a psychological benefit that I'm sure Vince has learned over the years, because Vince is a goddamn fucking ruthless backstabber. We know this.
Yeah.
With
everything.
The shit that he's done in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Also,
the day of is when Bret says, why don't I just hand you the title in Ottawa? He's like, everybody knows I'm leaving. It's just, tell the truth on Monday.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But now at the same time, that's not how you do business in wrestling. I don't care who the fuck you are. When you're leaving, you don't just hand the title over and say, okay, see you guys later. You know what I mean?
But he also would have pushed Shamrock over in Montreal.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, there's something to be said about the story of Austin winning the Rumble after breaking his neck and going to WrestleMania and beating Shawn, right? With the whole, Mike Tyson thing, whether that was even bantered about at this point in time. So, I wouldn't put it on Austin just because it was that quick and it wouldn't be telling the story.
I think Shamrock would have worked.
My only argument against that is back when I think about this before, I'd assume Shamrock's been there for a year or so. Shamrock's been wrestling for 3 months, 4 months, right? I wouldn't put it on Shamrock either.
Could be a transitional change.
Oh, Shamrock is great. The pops he's getting.
He's getting great pops. And what is it to him? It's not going to hurt him for him to just beat Bret so you can get through all this dramatic bullshit.
Yeah.
Have Shamrock
you can have
win.
Shawn screw him over or
something. Then, maybe Shawn fucking, does something post-match, and then it leads to Springfield where Shawn beats Ken. All it needs to be is just a way for this to go over smoothly.
Or even Shawn winning the title at DX.
That's Springfield, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant on Raw. I thought you were talking about okay.
That would be DX, yeah.
Okay.
And I got one little bit here that I'd like to mention here. It's a nice little rundown of a lot of the shit that happened between Bret and Vince over the last year, but it's in terms of Dave Meltzer's Observer. This isn't long, but I'll just read through it here. The true reasons McMahon decided to handle it the way he did it are unknown. Those who should have been in the know said afterwards that McMahon was afraid of what Hart might say in a live interview the next night. Not that he would say anything bad about the WWF, as they all knew he wouldn't, but that he might say something positive about the WCW and get himself over stronger as a babyface in the process while leaving for the opposition. McMahon wasn't happy. Hart called WCW an honorable organization in his lengthy interview when he did announce that he was staying with the WWF for the rest of his life more than 1 year earlier. No doubt the nature of this planned screw, losing in his own hold in his own country, was designed to ruin him in the country where he was the national wrestling hero and a big box office draw, and it had nothing to do with the phrase, quote-unquote, the time-honored tradition of this business. And Dave says in brackets, well, actually it did, because in many territories, screwing the guy who was leaving the territory was a time-honored tradition. That McMahon coined on Raw when trying to give his side of the story without totally exposing what happened. Why was he so vindictive is something we can only speculate on. Was McMahon simply trying to ruin Hart, particularly in Canada, where he'd be WCW's top draw if the company started running regularly in a country McMahon basically has had to himself for 14 years? Was he simply trying to gain revenge for Hart, so publicly knocking his product and give a message to the boys for speaking out so vehemently against his new direction? Was he mad because Hart had negotiated the reasonable creative control clause in his last 30 days, and more so had the audacity to use it, thereby putting McMahon in the position where legally he didn't have the final say-so in the title match of his own, which what turned out to be the biggest show of the year, and he just wanted to make some sort of point? Refusal to do a certain job on a certain day couldn't have been that big of a deal because at the very next pay-per-view, Austin refused to drop the IC title in the ring to The Rock on the day requested, which would have been DX. And
really, Austin refused to lose to The Rock.
So they stripped him of the title the next night, and a few weeks later, Michaels refused to drop the European title to Owen. And what would happen instead? Shawn handed the title to Hunter. And then it was supposed to turn into Owen beating Hunter for the title, but that never ended up fucking happening. So, was Hart just simply an unwitting pawn in McMahon's eyes, in as much bigger at the time war with Bischoff, which this is in 1998, so it was at the time war, he's winning at this point. And was this just a way to stick it to Bischoff? Killing the star before he gets him.
I mean,
and Just one
could be
last
that.
bit. Ironically, with Heart and Toe, WCW, as it turns out, did not run one single show in Canada in 1998.
Oh, wow. What a missed opportunity that is.
Yeah.
So I suppose the Goldberg Spears 99. Yeah.
Late 99.
Yeah.
This last feud.
Yeah. God damn. Yeah, I mean, it's wild to say. I mean, I do believe that, you know, like, if you're going out, if you're not, how do you say it? If you're not going to resign, if you're leaving the company, you should lose on your last night.
You should go out with your back on the mat.
Yeah.
But it all just turns out to be bad blood, petty drama.
Yeah.
Neither Shawn or Bret are right in this situation, just one's more right than the other. One had more shit to deal with. Now, you know what, Shawn? You got a lot of shit to deal with after that happens, because no matter how much heat Vince wants to take for it, it's always going to be you.
Shawn's forever been known since this day.
And
as
Earl.
And Earl is the people that screwed
Exactly.
screwed Bret.
Vince
No.
is like, he's in the rear view mirror on this situation.
Yeah,
which
a little bit, yeah.
He shouldn't be, because, oh my God, there was one part in The Observer that I read. It was about the double crosses, and I think it was the Bob Backlund one, where, you know, Vince has spent, from 1994 to 1997, he's trying to build his reputation to cover what he did in the 80s when he first took over his father's business.
Okay,
Where
yeah.
he screwed people left and right, no matter what. Like, I'm taking everyone's fucking talent, and I'm going to fucking make myself some money. And over 1995 to 1997, he's trying to paint himself as this, you know, homebred fucking, we started from the grassroots fucking WWF company, where he's got all these homegrown stars, and billionaire Ted's taking them all from me. He's taking all my stars. And
give me back my stars.
There was something that someone told Dave, he didn't want to name him, it could have been Bret, that, you know, you think Vince is all fucking nice and level-headed until it comes down to the fucking
Brass tacks, really.
brass tacks,
The
the end of the
nitty-gritty.
negotiation. You get the real Vince.
Yeah.
And he's going to do whatever it
100%.
fucking takes. And once
100%.
you see that Vince, you'll never unsee it again.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. I
So,
mean, obviously.
The
no
clause came out
businessman.
with Vince.
Yeah.
It
But
happened with Bob
any
Backlund
good
and
businessman,
Sheik.
though.
Yeah.
Any good businessman. And it would probably happen with me. It would probably happen with you if we built our own company up to be $1 million company. You're not going to let anybody else ruin it. If anybody's going to ruin it, it's going to
Exactly.
be you. You know, like it's not going to be if anybody else is doing.
Look at Wendy Richter and Moolah. Look at
Yeah.
Bob Backlund and Sheik. You know, fucking the whole thing with Vern Gagne and Hulk Hogan and Sheik. Like, there's so many WWF stories about screw jobs and double crosses.
Break your back and make you humble.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, and then this brings us after a Shawn Michaels Bret Hart feud.
Great
recap.
video package.
Yeah, it is. They then start doing the Goldberg deal where they all start walking to the ring.
It just seems so ominous from the start.
Yeah, it really sets the mood, honestly. You know what I mean? I can only imagine watching this match live on pay-per-view and it going off the way it did. Just being like, what the fuck just happened? I would definitely be watching Raw the next night. You know what I mean?
And they got a huge viewership for that Raw.
I would imagine they did. They didn't beat WCW,
They
though.
got like a 3.26.
Yeah, still didn't beat WCW.
Oh, no.
I mean, the WCW crowd, they knew he was going to WCW, so let's see what happens on WCW, right?
Well, he got signed to the NWO that night.
Well, yeah, I mean, he wasn't there, but I mean...
I know, but I showed you what happened.
Yeah.
The old Canada bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the match...
They
match
go far
starts.
into Gorilla for these entrances.
Oh, yeah, and you even hear Shawn's like, I don't even know where to go. Where do I
And
turn?
Chandra shows him. Sean's going down that entranceway. He gets a beer thrown smack dab at his skull, and he's just smiling, drenched in a half drink.
Just with his arm in the air.
The hand in the air. I love it. The old 1992 heel Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
I hate Shawn, but this is great.
Oh yeah, like
he's
as
such
a worker,
prick.
he's a fantastic worker.
Shawn's a born heel. He should never be a baby.
Yeah,
Shawn
100%.
should always be a heel.
100%.
He's just such a resemblance to the biggest prick.
Yeah, because he is. He is. If you look up prick in the dictionary, there's a picture of Shawn Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Sum it out, Shawn Michaels. But Bret's pop, too. Let's not forget Bret's pop. Bret gets a great
Bret
pop.
doesn't even have his jacket on when he leaves his locker room. He's always late. It
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
matter. He can't even have his jacket on.
That's why he was talking about Wrestling with Shadows, where he has the dream where his shoelaces are tied together and he's naked and he got to go. And they played his music twice now because he's always late. Always late. I wonder how. Well, I suppose he wasn't late for this show.
Showtime. He.
But Wrestling with Shadows, it wasn't Showtime when he showed up.
Really?
Well, obviously it wasn't. Vince McMahon still hanging out around, right?
Well, maybe his last show, maybe he showed up early, but Showtime was.
He had
his
to talk
thing.
to Vince before.
He's allowed to show up by Showtime.
Yeah. But
Like,
I mean, this one was a
Bad
bit
Blood.
different.
He showed up late because they were still waiting for
Well,
Bret
yeah.
to show up for Pillman.
And that's when they realized there was something wrong,
Yeah.
because Pillman wasn't with Bret. But they brawl through the crowd. It's a banging start. JR even calls it a Donnybrook.
It's very stiff.
Yeah.
Not stiff,
No,
but it's very
not,
snug.
yeah, it's snug. It's snug and well worked. It's chaos ringside though. There's 3 refs.
The
Slaughter,
fucking first
Stooges,
15 rows
Vince.
of that crowd is rabid.
But not even the crowd though, but just like the body of sea of people ringside. You know what I mean? You got Gerald, you got you got Pat, you've got I think Tony Guerrero's there. There's so many fucking Guerrero, yeah,
Guerrero.
Oh, I said Guerrera.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's Hoovie's dad.
yeah, yeah. Fuck. Doesn't matter what I said. It's still one of them.
He's the juice, but Hoovie is the concentrate.
This is a small package. Vince comes out to convince Bret to get into the ring while they're brawling on the entranceway.
Yeah,
And-
right in the
and-
tunnel.
Yep. HBK then he gets out of harm's way though. Before this, to sacrifice Tim White. He wouldn't be the only ref to be sacrificed tonight because Jack Doan would then
There's
get
a
punched in the
cameraman
face.
that Shawn Michaels gets angry at again. Shocker.
Always, never on his good side, never. But yeah, no, I say convince Bret in quotations because that's not why he's actually there. He's there to make sure this goes down the way it needs to go down. And this is just an excuse to get him ringside so that Bret wouldn't think anything of it. And it's smart. I mean, for Vince to pull this off, it's conniving to say the least.
Yeah. Hey, man, someone needs to aggressively elbow Mark Eaton, the fucking timekeeper.
Oh yeah, really? I didn't know that. They didn't know that. They didn't know that.
That was Vince.
Well, yeah, but I didn't. I thought Vince was yelling at him. Well, fair enough. But yeah, this match starts after what I'm sure was a 10-minute brawl. This match is 12 minutes long.
It was about so the official match time would be about 12 minutes, and Bret says it was a 17-minute match in total, so it was about 6 minutes of brawling outside.
Fuck. It felt like a lot longer than that. But I mean, hey, time does fly.
This was supposed to be a 30-minute match.
Yeah, it's supposed to go a bit longer, right? But no, immediately after the bell rings, HBK goes outside and just starts attacking Bret with a pole and a flagpole and no DQs, no nothing.
Nothing.
Survivor Series, the night where nothing goes. Yeah, it's gang rules. I guess that's what gang rules meant. You can use weapons. But yeah, no. Bret, he would go back outside working Shawn's leg. This is when you'd have that great fucking thud with the turnbuckle, and then put on the figure 4, and
the
then
pop that the figure 4 got.
Yeah.
Was
I mean,
tremendous.
it's Bret's signature. It's one of his signatures,
It's
right?
sad to know that this is the last time you'll ever hear such a true and honest Canadian pop from Bret Hart. At the time when he was the most over he ever was.
Yeah, pretty much. This would then lead into a actual figure 4 in the middle of the ring, and they're telling the story that Shawn is so bratty, so resilient, that he's never going to give up, not in that move. And you know, it's not long after that everything unfolds the way it did. And Bret would help Shawn put him into the sharpshooter.
Well, first, Tyler, what would happen is that Bret would hit a backbreaker on Shawn. He would go up top, and Shawn would pull Earl in front of him. That would cause the ref bump.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, what the ref bump was for, I don't know. But
I will tell you. I will tell you, Tyler.
Yeah, but there was no interference, though.
No, but what the reason the ref bump was for. The ref bump was there, but the ref bump was also there for the fucking double cross to happen. But it was there for the original finish. So the original finish was supposed to be Earl Hebner takes that ref bump. Mike Chioda darts down after Bret reverses the sharpshooter. It gets broken up. Or no, Shawn's tapping from the sharpshooter. But there's no ref up.
Yeah.
So Bret goes to revive Earl. Tries to wake him up. Mike Chioda runs down. Shawn Michaels super kicks Bret. And then I believe Mike Chioda counts the count. And then someone pulls Mike Chioda's leg. I believe it was supposed to be Owen Hart. So the Hart Foundation was supposed to show up. And then that would cause Rick Rude, Triple H, Chyna showing up as well. Chaos ensues. There's another point where another super kick was supposed to happen. And then by the time that Earl wakes up, Bret gets his fucking shoulders up. And then the DQ happens. So they see on the tape, backstage, Mike Chioda's yelling and Bruce Pritchard's yelling like, this is not fucking supposed to happen. What the fuck is going on? That Earl Hebner gets up immediately when the sharpshooter happens. And Owen and Bulldog are like, what the fuck is going on? And they're trying to find Hunter and Chyna, who are supposed to come out after Owen and Bulldog.
Yeah.
But they're ringside. And they don't really see them on the camera that they got. So there's chaos backstage. Bruce didn't know. Mike Chioda didn't know.
No.
Bulldog and Owen didn't know.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that Shawn locks in that sharpshooter. Bret tells him you got the wrong leggings. The honorable guy that Bret is trying to make the best match happen. Shawn fixes his leg, gets the right sharpshooter in. Earl says ring the bell. You can hear it audibly.
You can. You really can.
In the background, Vince is nudging Mark Eaton saying ring the fucking bell.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and then that's really how the show goes off the air. We all know what happens. He
The
throws
crowd
the
erupts with a
monitors.
huge no. Did you hear that?
I didn't notice. No.
The deflation of the crowd.
Yeah.
Once that happened.
Oh, I thought you were saying that they all said no in unison.
No. But
I was like,
just the way that like the noise just kind of deflates really quick.
I mean, you see a lot of people that are kind of disheveled. You know, it's like, okay, yeah, well, this is not what I wanted. But I mean, we all know what happens. He throws the monitors. He fingers. blasts.
Poxalugia Vince.
Yeah, spits on Vince and singles
Shawn
WCW.
looks like he's pissed off too.
Yeah.
Which we know Shawn was fully a part of it.
Oh, yeah.
He snatches the title, leaves with Triple H and Jerry Briscoe, and Jerry's telling him, hold the title high and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And once that's all over, obviously they cut the black. The show just ends.
There's no commentary for the bit where Bret puts on the fit.
Well, no, because the show is over at this point in time.
Yeah.
I would imagine that the only footage they have of it is the Wrestling with Shadows footage.
The Coliseum home video
Yeah.
had the exclusive footage of Bret doing that.
The WWF version of it. Yeah, I suppose the hard camera WCW is.
It's just the monitor smashing.
So then, where was the hard camera WCW?
I think that. Well, okay, it might have been Coliseum, but I think it might have been Wrestling with Shadows.
No, Wrestling with Shadows not going to have the hard camera. Vince ain't going to give him that footage, Travis.
Okay, well, it was Coliseum. It was Coliseum. I'm sorry. It's been a long time. I've got the VHS. How many times do you think I watched the VHS of Survivor Series?
I have no idea.
One time, Tyler.
But yeah, no. So basically, this would all blow over backstage where Vince would go into his private office with Patterson and a few others. They locked the door. Michaels is then, he's afraid that Hart will punch him out, so he tells him that, this wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it.
Saw that on Wrestling with Shadows there.
Undertaker's furious, pounding on Vince's locked door. When he came out to talk with him, Undertaker told him in no uncertain terms that he needed to apologize to Hart. He went to Hart's dressing room, where Hart just had come out of the shower, when in actuality, Bret tells the story that he came in and he was sweaty. He told him, I'm going to shower. If you're not in my room when I come back, I'm gonna do something. Comes in, finishes tying his boots, fucking uppercuts him, and he leaves. And then Wrestling with Shadows comes back in.
Vince tries to fight with him.
Yeah.
Vince tries to fight with him. He jostles him a little bit. And from every single account possible, Bret upper decked him and completely fucking lifted Vince with this uppercut.
And then they say Shane McMahon jumps on Hart's back.
Mm-hmm.
Smith then jumps on Shane's back, pulling him off, not realizing there would be trouble. Smith had already taken off his knee braces and hyperextended his knee in the process of pulling Shane off. Hart then nearly broke his hand from the punch.
Broke his hand.
He did break his hand?
He couldn't wrestle on...
As of this observer, he
couldn't wrestle in WCW until January because he broke his hand.
Right. Hart then asked Vince if he was now going to screw him on all the money he owes him, and a groggy Vince said no. It's great, a groggy Vince. He told Shane and Briscoe to get that piece of shit out of here, glaring at the both of them. Told them that if they tried anything, they'd suffer the same result. In dragging McMahon out, someone accidentally stepped on his ankle, injuring him as well, and that's why he limps.
Won't appear on TV for a couple weeks either, too, because he's got that limp as well.
Yeah. And then obviously Hebner, the story from Dark Side of the Ring, left immediately, just like Jim Cornette, who had just
Jim
pieced
Cornette
out.
saw the fucking car fucking peel out.
Yeah. Hebner claimed ignorance the whole time, swore he knew nothing about it, was so mad that he was going to quit.
In Bret's book, he ran into Earl and Dave a couple months after in the airport, and they asked for jobs in WCW.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. In my last little bit of aftermath, Randy Savage addressed the Montreal Screwjob.
Where and when?
I don't know where, but it's right after. It's like the week after. It's the same observer as the Screwjob. He said that McMahon is really on a roll of bad decisions. He brought up a match that no doubt his father told him where Buddy Rogers, as a booker and a ref, conspired to double-cross Argentina Rocca, who had refused to do a job, but that Rocca didn't react like Hart did. He ripped on Michaels, admitting that he had talent in the ring, but said his acting job in regarding to pretending he didn't know wasn't very good. Said the belt that he carries is now a joke, and so is he.
Well, I mean, Bret would say it would all depend on how Shawn would react the night after on whether or not he was in on it. And when he saw it, saying that he fucking had to beat up a 52-year-old man, that he's the rightful champion and shit like that, he knew. And we didn't mention this as well. Another reason why Bret wouldn't put over Shawn is because he said on Raw, after they made that amicable promise that they wouldn't rip each other's families apart, Shawn said 2 weeks before Survivor Series, the Stu is a dead man in a body that doesn't know he's dead.
Oh, yeah, no, this is what they were talking about in the limo from Wrestling with Shadows.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, there's so many more differences there, and I'm going to come up with my summarization of this whole thing is that Bret wasn't wanted in the WWF anymore. If he stayed, he would have been fucked over. And he just wanted to leave with his head held high, but it wasn't going to happen.
No, not on this night. Not on this night, indeed. But with that being said, that is episode 200. That is all... What is it?
Can we do an epilogue here?
Oh, how long is it going to be? Because I don't have it in
Tyler.
me.
Not very long. This is the bitter end with Owen here. So, Bret Hart trying to get Owen into the company, as well as Jim Neidhart and British Bulldog, who already fucking jumped ship. This is the last bit that I have for this, and it's pretty short and sweet. So Bret says, as a favor to Owen, I spoke with Vince Russo on the phone. He'd gone from writing the WWF magazine to writing the shows, and we both thought of him as a friend. I told Russo angrily that McMahon wasn't good for his word and that it was impossible for Owen to trust anything he said. My hostile tone was not directed at him, and Russo and I hung up on good terms. Seconds later, my phone rang, and to my startled amazement, it was Vince McMahon. I concluded that he'd listened in on the entire phone call. He said to me, "I can't believe how truly selfish you are that you want to hold back your own brother Owen. How can you expect him to believe anything you say? If you say another word to Owen, I'll sue you so fast you won't know what hit you. Vince, if you had an ounce of decency, you let him go, or at least you let him make his own decisions." Well, I'm not letting him go, and I'm never letting him go, and you better get used to it. If you keep doing what you're doing, messing with Owen's head, I'll sue you with a smile on my face, and I'll sue Owen for breach of contract too. He slammed down the phone. I called Owen to tell him what happened. I said I couldn't do anything more or Vince would sue us both. For some reason, Owen apologized. I told him not to worry, that we wouldn't let the wrestling business come between us. I'll always be here for you, Owen. Do what you gotta do and don't worry about me. Watch yourself. They'll be coming for you next. You watch. Watch your back, Owen, and I'll be waiting for you over at WCW. Just get home in one piece.
Yeah.
So Vince was gonna sue both of them for breach of contract because Owen was just talking to Bret.
Hey, I mean, like, I'm sure it wouldn't have stood up in court, but I mean, Vince probably a little woozy. He's probably not in the right mind either. He just got knocked out.
Well, I'm pretty sure this was in like 1998.
I don't believe that story because Owen's Bret's brother. How can he sue a guy for talking to his brother? You can't.
No, it was when Owen was signing the new contract for the WWF, and he was trying to get Owen over at WCW.
Yeah, but I mean, like, still, he's only talking to his brother. What's he supposed to do? Never talk to his family again?
But he's breaching contract by talking to Owen about signing with WWF.
Yeah, but they can't prove, though. They can't prove.
I know.
You know what I mean? So like, it's basically saying, it's like, if you're in the same room as your brother, I'm just going to assume you're talking about contracts, so I'm going to sue you if I see you with him.
Oh, it probably would have no legitimacy.
It wouldn't have any legitimacy. So it's just a guy spewing bullshit, trying to scare a guy, because really that's what Vince McMahon is a guy that just tries to throw his weight around and scare you. Really, that's why every lawsuit they win is just tied up because they got more money, and they just go on to the other guy's too poor and they settle out of court. Right? So it's just what they do. That's the WWE in a nutshell. But with that being said, you can follow us on Twitter at the Fuderation. You can follow Travis on Twitter
at Fudge and Up.
T-shirts at whatamaneuver.net, Facebook and Instagram, Fuderation Podcast. Patreon and PayPal, become a member of the Fudge family, get to listen to this episode live and in color, and then, just all the exclusive audio if you're $5 or more, and whatnot and so forth. But Travis, Hitman Week was a success, and that's probably half the reason why I'm exhausted. It's because it's Hitman Week. I still got more work to do. So Travis,
I just show up.
Keep on rocking, free world, and
doodaloo
do motherfucking do.
One thing's for sure.